Love and love, Jasmine
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
love.
Happy Thursday to everybody. Lots of news to talk about today. What's going on? Jasmine is joining us. It's my fault. I was a little late getting everybody the links and stuff. And I also changed the time to 10 minutes early because we got a lot going on right now.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
If you couldn't guess by what Chris is the X-Men theme song, which I love.
Well, I was just
And
editing your video that's about to go out after this, and I was heavily using the trailer from that, so that song's naturally stuck.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Hi.
Hold on.
I am a little confused. You text me that we were meeting at 3:50 and then sent the Discord link, so I was very confused because it's 2:50 right now for me.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry
Time
about that.
change.
I can't figure out why I can't just do the four of us like I was doing last time.
There's 4 people?
Or 3 of us. Shh.
I count as 2.
That's true. Chris's personality is big enough.
Wow.
All right, hold on. I'm going to try this. Ha! I did it. What's up, everybody?
That is stunning.
What's that?
I said that's stunning. This looks
Couple people saying finally caught a live stream. Glad you could join us.
Hey,
We've been
welcome,
pretty
everybody.
consistent with it, so now people can anticipate when we'll be live.
Yes.
Yeah, usually it'll be this time. We did do 10 minutes early today. That's because a lot of news just dropped. We're going to release a video immediately after this.
Thunderbolt
about the X-Men.
Yeah.
About the X-Men. Yeah. But one thing I really want to talk about, and Jasmine, as a black lady, I would love your opinion on this as well. It kind of seems like Damson Idris, and a lot of you might have seen this, is kind of, really kind of hinting that he's the new Black Panther. You know what I mean? Like, I think the last thing he said was when someone asked him about it, he said, yes, no. Like, that was his literal response. He said yes, and then he said no.
He's an interesting choice. I mean, especially coming off of All We Know Is Chadwick Boseman, and he has such a majesty to the energy that he presents just as an individual on screen and off screen. And as someone who F1's not out yet, it comes out at the end of this month. I've seen F1 twice now. The role that Idris does, that Damson Idris does, is like childish, and it's very youthful, and it's very social media forward, and it's kind of, I'm not saying that it's like Gen Z energy, but it's that like stereotypical Gen Z, I don't care about anything energy. And so when you see him in F1,
is you're talking about his character or him as a person?
I'm talking about his character. That's all I've really seen him as. That's all I've really seen him as. And so
gotcha.
And that's that's a major movie. And I think that that's the image that a lot of people are going to see him as in the first time. And that is not T'Challa at all. So I don't know. For me, it's not really hitting. I think I'd need to see him in a bit more of a serious role to lock it in. For me, I don't think so. I don't think he's hitting it for me.
Interesting. Okay. Well, but here's another interesting part. This is, remember when we got those huge concept art leaks for Doomsday? Yeah. This was a part of it. And a lot of people are saying, like, this does look like Damson Idris.
Does it?
A lot of people were thinking that.
For me, not so much.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I see it. His hair's like different. It's not like, I don't know what to call it, but it's not like in this scene right here, like his head is smooth. It's almost like, a tiny little afro, whereas his hair normally is not like that.
For me, this looks like a guy who's like late 30s, maybe 40s, whereas he looks younger. Like, I don't know. I'm not seeing that in this, but if that's what people are saying, then okie dokie.
That's when it came out. That's like a lot of people were like, "Yo, they just confirmed Damson Idris is Black Panther." But by this photo, here's my actual pick. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
oh my God. Just RDJ for every.
You want to talk about the #1 blockbuster movie of all time?
I mean, you've seen Tropic Thunder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Tropic Thunder?
Yeah,
okay, good. You're like, I'm black, and I.
No, it's not that. It's a very funny movie. It's just
it's hilarious.
I watched it once, and I don't need to watch it again.
Oh, Jasmine doesn't like those types of movies. Why do we even have her on here? What is going on?
Because we're here to talk about comics. I'm here to talk about.
I know. Yeah. But I mean, he's a young guy. He is young. Let me see if I can pull up a picture that's like. Maybe him as the Black Panther.
His F1, because he looks a baby boy there.
A baby boy.
He looks a baby boy.
I'm trying to find like a good, none of these are like really good. They're all like kind of the same photo. This is him from F1, I think. Oh, that's a very blurry photo. Hold on, let me find a better one. Yeah, we'll just pull up this one. Open new tab. And I have figured out how to do all this stuff, y'all. I'm getting good at it.
Wizard.
I'm getting good at it. And enlarge, enhance. I don't know. I kind of see that there. No.
I see him as young T'Challa, not as a replacement.
Yeah.
We're talking baby T'Challa, right? Like their son, the son of him and what is it? I want to call him.
So that's another thing I want to talk about, because that's like one of the biggest question marks right now. And I acknowledge a lot of people are saying watch Snowfall because apparently he's in it and he's great in it.
I know they're yelling at us in the chat, just screaming
about Snowfall. Yeah.
Snowfall. Okay, Jesus. Well, add it
to
many shows that we watch every single day.
Yeah, right. I don't know. To me, he looks right here in this image. He looks like he could play a T'Challa. But that's the biggest question is he a variant? Is it the son? Because I think about it, how there would have to be like a time jump just for T'Challa 2, just for T'Challa Jr., because you can't jump the whole MCU up 20 years, right? You know what I mean? They would have to do that for the child.
Unless they took him to the TVA and he aged there and then came back.
That's what I'm saying. They would have to specifically jump him up, just a person up 20 years.
But that seems unnecessary when you could just get an already old variant and bring him in. Like, they're going to be getting so many different characters. He could be the Black Panther from the X-Men universe. Like,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. And then since we're getting like this soft reboot after, he's just the new one. Right, because remember we talk about once the new universe is established, nobody remembers the past. He just is the new Black Panther.
Secret Wars for this?
What's that?
Are you thinking Secret Wars for this, or are we thinking way past?
No, I think it is Secret Wars, and that's where that concept art came from. Is Secret Wars like? So you have to think about it this way: regardless of whoever that picture is of, and it might not be of anybody, right? It's there. A Black Panther is there. And that's concept art.
It's going to be somebody
for Secret Wars, right? Yeah, yeah, and that's a grown freaking T'Challa there. You know what I mean? And some people are like, maybe it's T'Chaka. I don't think it's T'Chaka. I think it's T'Challa. Because like, okay, do you know E-Man movies reviews? Do you know that person, Jasmine? So him and I are good buds. Yeah, we're good buds. And he started the whole recast T'Challa thing, right? Because he has kids, he has boys, and Black Panther / T'Challa is important for him raising, black children. And I agree with him, right? So I think Marvel kind of screwed up when they decided not to recast him. Like, I get it, showing respect for Chadwick Boseman and everything. Like, I totally get it. But I mean, where was that when Thunderbolt Ross died, right? You know what I mean? Like it's very William Hurt, that's his name. When William Hurt died, they weren't like, we're not going to cast him because blah 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 blah. You know what I mean?
There's a very large argument and a difference in that. But what I will say is I think that is where the variant comes in. I do think that's where we can honor the legacy of Chadwick Boseman, but not replace him. We can uplift the character that is the Black Panther and is T'Challa without erasing what Chadwick Boseman brought to the character. So yeah, I do think a variant would work. Do I think it's his son? I mean, baby boy looks closer to like the actor who played his son than Chadwick Boseman. So I don't know. I think I would prefer him if we age it 20 years later and this is baby boy, like baby T'Challa, than us having a variant. I like that. I like that story wise a little bit better. And then you can still play off of it. We can pay homage to, oh, my dad, who is no longer with us. And then that funeral scene still, makes it, we're not getting rid of all that stuff. Secret Wars is so hard for me because we have put 20 years worth of love into this saga and that idea. And I've talked with you guys about it too, just that idea of we're just erasing everything and starting over. I don't want to lose all of this history that we've had with these characters. And so for me, I'm very emotionally based. You guys know that. So it's just hard for me.
No, I get that. And I just want to adjust something. Black Claw to E-Man as daughters, not sons, LOL. I guess we were just talking in general about young Black children growing up, looking for that role model in T'Challa, I guess is what we were talking. Because we talked about it, I mean, for years now. And I didn't go to the premiere of Black Panther 2, but I went to the screening and I sat next to him in that screening. Jasmine was probably there and we didn't even know at the time.
I went to the premiere and I don't know if I went to the screenings, but I was most certainly at did they not do a premiere? Because I was at whatever they had
No, they did a premiere, but as a white man, I wasn't invited.
There were a lot of white people there. There was a lot of white people.
I got invited to every premiere before and after, but not that one. So that's all I'm saying. Look, I don't really care. And E-Man was like, "Hey, I'll take you," and I was like, "No, take somebody who this will mean a lot too," and he did. So I was glad about that.
I love it.
Huh? What?
Nothing. You're good. Making comments. You're here for the culture. Giving up.
No, that's what I told him. I was like, "No, take somebody who would be better for that culture," and he did. So. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think this is like Chris and I have talked about this, and I think we talked about this last time when you weren't here. This is like a classic. And I put this question out on Twitter like a few days ago. Should Marvel rush to reset everything essentially, or take their time with Doom? Like essentially the question I posed in chat, you can tell me here. I said, excuse me. Would you rather delay Doomsday and Secret Wars and everything? Would you push it back 2 years or so to have them do more movies in between to build up Doctor Doom better, to build up the overall story better? Or would you rather just, nope, keep the dates. We're getting what we're getting. Let's hurry up and get to the next saga. Chat, you can let me know.
Go ahead. Your thoughts. Know your thing, Chris, too. You're so quiet there in the corner. I am not Marvel fatigued. I am probably of the smaller, contingency of fans who I'm not fatigued, but I am asking for more. It has been several years, and at this point, I just want the level of competency to lift. I don't want rushed stories just to get these characters out there. I would love stories in between. I wouldn't mind them pushing it back to make this movie perfect. We will wait for it. And I would love stories in between. I'm not fatigued. I think that there are other characters within the Marvel comic world that we can explore. I think that there are characters and stories that we already know and love that we've kind of brushed over and then dismissed and gotten rid of. Love to see more about the Young Avengers. I would love more of a backstory about Agatha. I think now having Franklin there, like all of these little sub stories, I would love an anthology series. Like, don't give me the Watcher series anymore. I don't need What If. I need an
anthology. Oh my gosh, no, please.
Yeah, I don't need any more What If. I need a little anthology, little 15, 30-minute episodes of stories that you need to know in order to fully understand Doomsday and Secret Wars. I think that spending time on those little anthology series, we would chew on a little bit more, like almost like how Black Mirror does. They're like little episodes within themselves. Give me that.
That's what, and I've seen some people say like this one, how would they build them up? There are no other movies. That's exactly what I'm talking about. We would delay Doomsday and Secret Wars to put new movies in front that would do that. Hold on real quick to get the super chat. Will Spider-Man go back to Marvel if Sony gets DC? Comic Book Reporter, thanks for that. I don't think that would affect the actual contract for Spider-Man at all. I don't think Sony's going to get DC. But the contract is basically they have to produce X amount of a Spider-Man movie every X amount of years, something, or they lose the rights, which they've managed to somehow make really crappy movies just to keep those rights. But I don't know. What do you think, Chris? Should they delay it, or we jump to the next saga and get to the mutants?
This was the majority of what we talked about last week. The conversation go on and on, because I think it matters. I would be perfectly fine with them delaying it and then saying, hey, you're going to get a Scarlet Witch movie. You're going to get a Shang-Chi movie. You're going to get a X-Men versus X-Men movie where the Thunderbolts and the current Avengers become one Avengers team. You're going to get a Doom movie. I don't care. Give me 6 more movies before we get Doomsday. I think it is probably ultimately going to be rushed, and people are going to criticize it regardless of the quality, because it's low-hanging fruit for people who like to hate, and there's a lot of them. So it doesn't really matter how great it is. People are going to whine that, oh, well, there was no build-up, and when you compare it to Thanos, and you compare, that's inevitable, much like Thanos. But and this was what we talked about, and this is against what Jasmine said about not wanting necessarily to.
You're against me, bro? Come on.
Well, it's funny because you said, like, I'm a very emotionally driven, and I would argue that I am too. Like, typically my distinguishing of whether something is a good movie or a bad movie goes to how it made me feel emotionally. Like, did I connect with the character? So I'm on the exact same, like, ideology of it's emotionally driven. Did I connect to the characters? But when it comes to the reboot, I want it, and I said this to Warren last week, clean. I don't want anybody to make it over. I want it to be brand new. I want to completely, because something ends, all
of the Young Avengers too.
All of it. I think it's gonna get messy. The more characters they try to keep, the messier it's gonna get. And the more messy it gets, the more we're bringing pieces over that we are already jumbled up and don't work. The more we do that, the more the future will suffer. But that's not because I don't like the emotion. That's not because I don't have emotion. I've been saying for 7 years on this channel how I'm emotionally driven with every single review I've done.
How would that work with Wonder Man? That's not even what Wonder Man's go. Okay,
but
for sure.
How? Tell me this honestly though. How is Wonder Man going to do on its own as a Disney Plus show? Genuinely.
Better than Ironheart.
Okay, how did Iron Man Heart do on it?
Ironheart. Yeah, but it's gonna do bad.
Right? Like, do you genuinely think Wonder Man has a future? Do you think he fits? Do you think it's gonna make sense? Do you think people care?
Do I think people care? No. Do I think it's gonna do okay? Yes, because.
Do you think it matters if people don't care?
I do. I think it matters. I think that that's a character that is so wonderful to the MCU, to the MCU, or to the MC Comics. I think that character is so needed, especially with Tony Stark being gone. And there is something so profound about, and she's one of the smartest people in Marvel, period.
You talking about Ironheart?
I'm talking about, Riri Williams, Dominique Williams. She is. We did this. We've done this.
I know, but like, I can't really say anything about Ironheart because there's embargoes.
I know.
You've seen it all.
People aren't gonna like her. I'm sorry. Like they're like.
I love that you say I can't talk about her, but then proceed to talk.
Can't talk about
well, no, because I'm talking about from Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I didn't like her. She's not like she is in the comics. I know. People, and if you're expecting an Ironheart from the comics, who is so much more happy. Right? Like, I mean, like, it's just, I don't like this interpretation of Ironheart. I don't like this iteration of it. I don't like how she's a jerk. She's like literally kind of a douche. Am I wrong, Jasmine? She's got attitude and she's like confrontational with everybody.
But she's from Detroit. She is very street and she's very hood. And for people who don't vibe with that, it is a turnoff, and I there's no other way of saying that. If you are not used to being talked to in the way that Riri Williams talks to you, it's very street, and there is a time and a place for that, and for some people it is a turnoff, and that's just what it is.
But there's a difference because it's like she is just confrontational in like every conversation that she has,
but it gives you somewhere to grow. It gives you, as a character, it gives you we've only seen her twice. Once, we've seen her once, and now this is the second thing that she has. So it gives the character somewhere to grow. If she's just likable from the get-go, then that's a boring ass character. Give me a character to hate, and give her somewhere to grow. Ooh, look at your face. What are you doing?
Why can't I like a character from the beginning? I pretty much like all the characters from the beginning. I don't like this. I don't like how they're interpreting Riri Williams in the MCU because I like Riri as a character, but I don't like the direction they took her.
We've also never had a character like her. Even if you say you don't like this personality, we've never had this personality before. So it might just be a little too different, and we've just got it. She just has to find her footing.
And I don't really know. It's going back to what Chris said. I don't really know the plan for. I know she's going to be part of the Young Avengers, which makes a ton of sense. But yeah, it's also like Wonder Man. Where does he fall? Like, is he going to be in Secret Wars? Where does he kind of fall into place? It does get
everything. He should be. He might be in Doomsday now that they've pushed everything back. What do you point at, Chris?
I would build on my original comment, which I was stating, because we ended up naming Riri and Wonder Man, but I'll name the whitest person there, like Tom Holland. Like, I want them all done. I want them all to finish. I want to start over clean. I want there to be maybe a character, 2 characters, 3 characters who can connect the 2 worlds. Somebody that remembers everything, who can carry. I don't know which character that would specifically be for me, whether it's
Garfield. Andrew Garfield has to be the link where I'm not losing him. I'm not losing him.
That would probably be the last pick I would pick for the link, a 40-year-old Spider-Man. But I'm just saying, I think it would be cool because in the comics when they restart it, nobody remembers except for a few people, like a very, very small select people.
Line? Are you saying even like the Fantastic Four?
Personally, probably. Like it's not what's going to happen. I'm just saying what I would like personally.
That's the thing, is it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But as a fan with an emotional connection to the last 25 years of movies that have come out, I would like it to completely start over so we can recast these characters with the X-Men. And Warren in his videos and most of the comments and the people who watch the videos, they're all talking about how excited they are to finally have the entire envelope of everybody together. But we still have such like a mixed family thing going on with, well, this person's dead, and the history of Chadwick Boseman and recasting him, even still, that's a problem. And yeah, the Young Avengers, well, I really hated this character, and this character didn't take back up the mantle. There's just so much mess from the 30 years, right, that I would like as clean of a cut as possible so that we can rebuild into the future. I think another big problem, because this was where it kind of sparked in last week's conversation, was, oh, well, maybe Thor will make it to the reboot. Like, I don't want him to. I don't want it hanging over our head. Will Chris Hemsworth make a cameo? Will this person make a cameo? When are they going to show up? Because that's all anybody's going to focus on. That's all anybody's going to talk about. So get rid of them. Give them an ending. Let them sacrifice themselves for the future in one massive sacrifice and let us start over. It's not going to happen because they've already put all their time, energy, and money into these characters. But I don't think that is a fan thought. I think that's more like, oh, for the actors because they've done a good job. Like, yeah, they have. People get laid off and fired every day across the country. Like, I'm sorry, Mr. Actor, but your job's done. It's time for somebody new. It's time for something new.
There is something to say about doing something cleanly, right? Like DC. Or even though he's like taken some of the characters and cast them like Jason Momoa, right? He's a little bit now, but that's like a perfect casting. But there's something to say about it does get messy.
You're saying a clean cut gets messy?
No, a clean cut is clean. What's messy is choosing some characters to survive a reboot and getting rid of others.
I don't know. I feel like that's a little yeah. I know that it's easy to say a clean cut is clean, but I'm trying to imagine the world of really the fandom of the MCU if we just cut it. I mean, people were pissed about Endgame wasn't the second one, but that like when everyone died and like Thanos snapped,
Infinity War,
uproar, Infinity. People were in an uproar and we had to wait. They were worried whether their characters were ever going to come back, but if we told them no, that's it. Like I am so fearful of the world that would leave behind where their favorite characters were just gone.
But
that's the thing. That's the thing.
Everything, so there could be a future.
Christ, Chris, are you good? Just sacrifice, just done.
I think that's just my opinion. I think
I know some people who say I know some people who say that they would have rather Infinity War have been the end. Like they just lose. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, as a cynical person and I want to challenge writers and directors, hell yeah, I'm on that boat. I too would love to see what are you gonna do now? Like how do you go from here? I think that question always drives me as an artist. If you make it easy, like I watched a movie I'm not going to say when, because then you could figure out what movie it was. But I watched a movie recently where there were no stakes. There was no, they kept threatening death and then nothing ever happened. And it just made it lackluster. But if you have a death and it's permanent and then all your characters have to now deal with that, or the world has to deal with the fact that that character that you loved for so long is just gone. So now what? That feels more closer to reality. That feels like a stake. And I kind of miss that. I miss that in superhero films.
How's that any different than my clean cut idea?
It's not. I'm just scared.
She agrees with me.
Yeah, I agree.
We did it.
I am just scared for the world because it's going to be a scary place on the internet when that happens. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, that's how it was for the DCU. That's how it still is. People to this day, Superman's not out, and people have written it off.
Snyder fans.
What's up, MCU Mac? Member in the chat. What up?
But in this scenario, there's closure. It's the end of, I mean, there have been 45 movies and some TV shows, and some characters already died off, and some characters have already, actors in real life have already passed away, and we don't have them. Like, it's all red.
Died, and they're not coming back like that.
Well, but here's the deal: is in the new, you're talking about, like Infinity War, when these characters, they were killed. People were upset that these characters are just gone, but that's not how the reboot's going to be. They're going to bring in new characters. We're going to get a new Iron Man. We're going to get a new Captain America, right? In theory.
And I
so
said
they're not gone.
In last week's video, we were talking about this. I hope, again, won't happen because money, but I hope the X-Men movies start coming out and you see little glimmers of a news report on Professor X's desk or a TV running in the background that shows Iron Man flying off. But I hope we don't meet them for like 5 to 10 years. Like, don't give me let me see them. Let me know they're there.
Like Easter eggs all over.
But don't introduce me to the Avengers for 5 years. Let me have some X-Men, a Fantastic Four, or whatever characters that we're reintroducing now to the MCU in this new world, and then keep teasing, something about Wakanda happened, and Professor X won't be back until next weekend because he had to go settle some issues in Wakanda. You know how excited people would be just to hear that sentence, right? Yeah. Or Cyclops comes back. Oh man, Captain America was really being a dick. He got in my way and he wouldn't let me save the day. Like, people would lose their minds, and we don't know who they are. There's no casting. We don't have a clue, and we're gonna build. And then one day, 6 years into the reboot, Marvel Studios to San Diego Comic-Con's announcing Iron Man 1. You're gonna tell me that's not gonna work?
Exactly. No, it would. It really would.
I'm not arguing way back when they figure it out. I think I'm just more about the first year, the first 6 months. I think that rocky ground.
Well, I think it's pretty easy. I really do. I think Secret Wars and Franklin Richards specifically is just the easiest thing in the world. Hey, the multiverse got destroyed. Okay, Franklin's going to start building it back up. And I actually think this is really cool because I think at first you can just have one universe, because they're not going to focus on the multiverse again. Like, honestly, the multiverse saga, just because of everything that happened and bad things like the pandemic and the strikes, but then bad decisions made by Marvel they should have just recast Kang and should have kept going with Kang, right? They should have recast T'Challa, kept going with T'Challa. And you know what I mean? It's like, in here from our member chat right here, in retrospect, it was a mistake to kill T'Challa. As good as Wakanda Forever is, we need T'Challa for Doomsday. See, and I didn't even think Wakanda Forever was that good. I did my first viewing and it was super emotional and I cried. I shed some tears. It was very emotional, but I watched it again and I was really bored. But there's some great scenes to it. But I agree. I don't think they should have killed him off. And I think they should have recast him. Now, see, because now you're talking about messy, Jasmine. Like, it's messy now. Like, it's messy now because now we're like, okay, his son, but they have to like jump him up 20 years, or is it a variant? You know what I mean? It is messy now.
And they're going to explain it in 30 seconds, and that's it, right? Like, here's T'Challa back on the big screen. We'll explain how, why, and where he came from in about 20 seconds because we have a billion other things to tie together because it's messy, and that's the end of it. You know, you have 4 movies tops from now till the end of the entirety of the Secret Wars saga, and it's like. So is it better to just not have a T'Challa at all? Don't have a Black Panther? Shuri's Black Panther. But like, is it better to just do that and then screw it? Like,
you know what I would prefer? It's really hard. I'm of two minds. Yeah, I would prefer, if we're gonna do that, wait till after Secret Wars, bring in a new T'Challa. I think I prefer that. But also, we have a Black Panther. It's Shuri. If you're gonna use it, just use her for that. and then like that is your Black Panther.
But I think that is what they're doing, but they still want T'Challa.
And with variants, it is
sense?
easy to have one in passing. It is easy to have Shuri be Black Panther and T'Challa be Black Panther.
Black Panther for now, and then when we reboot, we can bring in all of these other candidates.
But that's what I'm saying they're gonna do. But they're gonna do that via Secret Wars, right? So Chris is right. And I've talked about this. I've said this so many times. Anything is possible right now, like quite literally anything, because there are infinite amount of universes, and whatever Marvel wants to do, you can just say, okay, they're from universe 1,000,004. And that's we want this dude to play Black Panther, blah 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 blah. And I actually saw a cool comment that I would have actually kind of liked Yahya Abdul-Mateen to play Black Panther. Like I like him as Wonder Man.
Can you pull up a photo? I'm not. Oh no! I
Wonder
didn't.
Man.
Like
Wonder Man, right?
Yeah.
Mateen the second. Yeah.
Hodge.
There's a couple other comments that are pretty good. A lot of us have already lost our favorite characters, or they've retired. T'Challa's dead. Tony Stark is dead. Steve is old. Hulk might as well be dead. Wanda's dead. Hank and Janet never even launched. I thought that was kind of funny.
I think I really like Yahya Abdul-Mateen the second. I really do. I actually think I'm gonna like Wonder Man if what I've kind of heard is true. Like it does have potential to be a great show. I mean, every show has, like, Ironheart had potential to be a great show, right? I mean, but had. But I will not be shy about it when it comes to it. But him playing Black Panther, I could have actually like really gotten on.
Yeah, I actually really like Yahya. I think he's a really cool dude. And again, my comment, slash it all, like I'm Ron Swanson at a Parks and Rec budget meeting. Like I'm really, really happy for the characters to have an opportunity in the future to be brought back in. I just think for the sake of saving a handful of characters, like, oh, well, all these young Avengers they're trying to do, like, oh, is that just going to be over? It's like, yeah, let them have their moment. There's no point saving all of these characters and all of their background and all of their backstory so we can have a Young Avengers movie, which honestly, in my opinion, isn't really going to do all that great anyway. Because it's cool, it's a fun idea, but the Young Avengers is built from the original Avengers, which we don't have anymore. So let's move to the new storyline and have the Young Avengers from the past and the new Avengers from the future, which are different characters. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all to me. And it's like, yeah, we have these agreements with these actors, and I want to see this character, and like I want to see them all. I want to see every single character on the screen at the exact same time in a big fight where everybody wins at the same time. But it gets too messy when we're saving all these characters for me. And again, irrelevant because they're not going to do what I want them to do. But I would argue the majority of fans would agree. Let's have a massive sacrifice and start over with like Doctor Strange, maybe to be the
pyre and just toss them all in.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be if. I could be everybody needs to get. The only way to defeat Doom is we all go out in a fiery ball of death with him, and Doctor Strange is the only thing left in the entire universe, and it's just black. And then him and Franklin Richards rebuild everything.
Get rid of Doctor Strange too? Are you?
I mean, if they're not going to put it out before Secret Wars, yeah, I don't care. Why does it matter? Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
that hurts my heart. Just the blasé attitude of I don't care. Like, I don't know. That's hard for me. I get it. I get the sentiment of what does it matter? Let's reboot. Let's start again. It just feels very throwaway. And
but they're not gonna do that is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not gonna do that. I mean, they're gonna keep Tom Holland Spider-Man. You know, they're not gonna do that. This is actually something that was thrown around a lot. MC Mac, thanks for that super chat. Awesome. In another universe, Michael B. Jordan is Black Panther, and I feel like I've heard a lot about that. I don't know if it was ever because Marvel was considering that, but I did think at one point in time, like, oh yeah, it's kind of like not a waste because I really loved the first Black Panther movie, but it's kind of like, yeah, Michael B. Jordan would have been great to act, like if they recast him, that would have been great, but he was Killmonger already, so that would have caused some problems. But in the multiverse, they could do that. That's the biggest thing. Like literally in the multiverse, anything's possible.
I like the internet kind of paying tribute to him in Sinners, like his line of, the last time I was happy was when I saw my brother. It was like sunset and I saw my brother, and then they put it with him dying.
Right, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Well, as far as the Black Panther is concerned, I mean, it's obviously not Yaya, he's Wonder Man, but I mean, Idris is being very, we'll say, cryptic lately, right? About it. And we've heard he was one of Marvel's top picks for the new Black Panther. So I mean, maybe it, again, based on the concept art. Do I still have that? Hold on, let me pull that up. Based on the concept art, it really does seem like, and again, regardless of whoever you think this looks like or not, regardless, this is real concept art. So they are thinking about bringing a new Black Panther in, right? It's concept art, so it doesn't mean it's 100% going to happen, but they are planning right now for this. So
crazy.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't know if I would say that really does look like him, but yeah, maybe
honestly
it's,
looks
maybe
more like Chadwick Boseman than anybody.
Yeah,
kind of, maybe. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what they were going for. The look, like the fit, the cape, and everything does look very different.
Yeah. Super cool, by the way.
It looks cool, yeah. And you know what's interesting is I think if they do bring like a variant of the Black Panther in, he should look quite different, right?
Mm-hmm. As different as Black Panther can look. I mean, he's pretty monotoned.
Yeah.
Golden,
well,
golden black.
we'll wait and see. I believe this is for Secret Wars, because we see like Doom sitting on the throne and the other stuff like that as well.
Yeah, he looked like he'd be like part of like a rebel team somewhere in Battle World, hiding like kind of with. Well,
that's the thing is I actually think so. We'll talk about Doomsday now, because there were some like Doomsday leaks and stuff that reported leaks that happened and stuff. Oh wait, hold on. Now it's not gonna let me do this again. Oh hi.
The shuffle.
There we go. That works. Yeah. So. Happy.
Yeah.
Are you happy now?
Not even phased.
Yeah, it's a complicated overhaul indeed, Junior. That's the thing. And it's like no matter what they do, it just depends on how well they do it, right? Like you can do a whole entire new reboot and the first 4 movies can suck and everybody can be like, oh, they shouldn't have rebooted it, right?
Oh yeah, or they could be brilliant.
Right, and everyone will be like, oh, thank goodness they decided to do like a clean reboot. You know what I mean? But the same thing goes for a soft reboot, and it's a little bit of, it's complicated, but it's a little bit of what you both want in a way, right? Like we get to start over and you can get your new characters like new Iron Man and Captain America and stuff, but then you do keep some old characters. But it gets messy because it's like if you keep Thor and he's only there for 1 movie and then he's gone, we just have no more Thor? Or is there another Thor there somewhere?
Which is
gets complicated. Gets complicated, right? Same thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man, I think, is a little different because I think the plan is to bring in Miles eventually. So you have Tom Holland Spider-Man in there for a couple more movies. He mentors Miles, and then Miles comes in and he's the new Spider-Man, right? But then you're gonna get people that are gonna be like, well, I want Peter Parker and Miles together on the screen, you know what I mean? Which would be really cool to see, so.
I don't know. I on that I feel like I feel like we've said our piece on that. I want to know about the Doomsday stuff.
Okay, so you want to know?
Well, yeah, because I keep hearing there's so much fun news, and then my For You page, because it's so female driven, everyone's just been talking about Sabrina Carpenter as Dazzler, and I'm just like, I'm ready to know other things
on that. I saw that and I was like, yeah, and Taylor Swift was supposed to be Dazzler and Deadpool and Wolverine, right? Like, I mean, I feel like sometimes people really do just like, hey, let's grab this really famous celebrity and look, she's got blonde hair. Let's say she's this blonde hair character in the comics, So.
But I appreciate the fact that everyone wants Dazzler in the MCU.
Sure. So Doomsday. I think we did a video on this a couple of days ago sometime, but so okay, hold on, let me pick and choose what I'm going to say, because if this is true, it could lead to some Fantastic Four spoilers, so I want to avoid that. I'm going to sit back, so I'm going to be very specific with what I say here. What
So we're both settling in for what you got to say.
Yeah, I mean, Chris already knows. He edits the videos. Okay,
pretend
so
you're home.
basically, we've again, I can't I'm really trying. If this is true, it could give away spoilers for Fantastic Four, so I got to pick and choose. But basically,
is this the one that I
been,
texted you and I said that's my favorite theory you've done?
No, that's a good one. We can talk about
That's
that
a
one.
good one. All right, go ahead.
This is actually so. Yeah, we'll just stick to this one. This is my favorite. This is my favorite thing that I think Doomsday could possibly be. So right now, Loki is holding the multiverse together, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Loki season 2, when the time loom breaks and all the branches are just floating, they're dying. They specifically say they're dying. Loki touches one, it comes to life. He lets go, it dies. That's why he grabs them all and sits on the throne in the Citadel, and he's just chilling, right? He is powering the entire multiverse.
Everybody wants you to say spoilers, apparently.
Spoilers aren't a thing here. You would think, but sometimes people see a live stream and they jump in and they have no idea who I am or what we talk about. But this is good. This is good what we're talking about. It's a supposed leak, and this is honestly what I want to happen. So Loki is chilling there. Doom is up to some multiverse shenanigans, right? He's I'll combine this with some recent rumors that we heard as well, that Doom is going out there killing anchor beings of universes to get the universes to die, right? Mm-hmm. So rumor is Charles Xavier's the anchor being of the X-Men universe. The same rumor said that we actually had 2 anchor beings, Iron Man and Spider-Man, which is why he comes to our universe to try and take out Spider-Man, and why we go to the X-Men universe to try to kill Xavier. But basically, Doom's up to these shenanigans, and Loki sees it because they also shoved that Loki can see into the universes, right? So Loki sees what Doom is doing, so he needs to warn people, right? He can't really leave because he has to power the entire multiverse. So in theory, if he leaves, the multiverse will die, right? So he thinks about, well, I have to warn people about Doom. He can't go to the Avengers because they think he's a bad guy, right? Anybody basically but Thor, because Thor watched him die, believes that Loki is a bad guy. He's the guy that attacked New York in the first Avengers film, right? Sure. Nobody else really knows Loki besides, well, I guess Bruce Banner would as well, or the Hulk. But basically that leads to Loki not being able to specifically go to the Avengers, especially if Thor isn't with them at that moment in time. So Loki directs the Fantastic Four to the 616 universe. He actually goes to the Fantastic Four because they're from a different universe. They don't know who he is. So he presents himself in some way, maybe just as a god, and especially because Reed, we know, is going to be working on multiversal stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like the perfect target, right? This guy understands the multiverse. He understands how things work. He understands that incursions, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell him what is happening. Doom is coming. And then there's some stuff about, Doom is going to take Franklin from the Fantastic Four because he needs him for his power, right? So there's a theory that comes with this leak that says, like, well, Doom could take Franklin to this other universe, which is what the leak says, but then the Fantastic Four end up in the 616 universe because that's where Loki told them to go. Mm-hmm. And they don't know where Doom is, so they go to the 616 universe, and that's how they get involved with all shenanigans. But basically what's happening is Loki knows that Doom is coming, so he is essentially trying to assemble his own Avengers team through different variants throughout the entire multiverse to stop Doom. Because one thing that has been actually very consistent with a lot of leaks that we've heard is that Doom, the ultimate goal, is to get to the TVA and to get to the Citadel at the end of time to get to Loki. Because if you think about it, that does make the most sense. If the multiverse is gone, that means Loki is gone as well. Not necessarily dead, but he's off the throne. He's not holding the multiverse together anymore, right? In order to destroy the multiverse, you essentially have to dethrone Loki. So that makes a lot of sense. And I really do like Loki watching everything happening and going, I have to assemble a team because he can't leave and do anything. So let's talk to the Fantastic Four, get them to go here. Let's maybe go to some X-Men, get them to go here. Let's bring all these people together, all these variants together to go up against Dr. Doom. I actually really like it. She inhales as she thinks so hard about it.
No, I mean it's this very seamless concept. I like it. I want Loki to have a stronger role. I don't want him to be. I mean, I know he's going to be like a side background character, but I'd love for him to be.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't see. He's sitting on a chair. You know,
I know, but it all leads to him. Is the thing.
Sure, I like that though. But I like the idea that he is the driving force of it. It's not. I just don't want RDJ to be the driving force. I would love for Loki. I would love for someone who's been in the MCU.
It's going to be RDJ.
I know.
Okay.
I hear
Just
you,
making
and
sure
I
you know
know.
that. And also, Loki has to fall off the throne. Like that's the only way to get to Battle World. I mean, really, that's just the answer. I'm like, just is the answer. Like
it is. I mean, it is what it is. I'm trying to find contingencies in what he said, but
there are none.
Perfect. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Team
know.
Warren. Yeah, I like it. It's very smooth.
I think the idea that the story builds up to is cool because this is a cool way to get Loki involved. Because I don't disagree with you. I mean, me saying that RDJ is going to be the driving force doesn't necessarily mean that's what I want. I mean, I do. But the reality of it is that's just what it's going to be. Again, $100 million isn't so he can wear a mask and say 6
Seriously, that's
like there's just no argument there.
Yeah,
like all of the money, all roads don't lead to the TVA; they lead to the freaking Disney bank account. Like realistically, but I love the idea of Loki appearing, being a master illusionist who absolutely knows how to just show up in different multiverses because he can see everything and do it and explain to Reed, "Hey, this is what needs to happen. This is where you need to go." And I think in Warren's theory originally, he even says Reed was to ignore Loki. Then some things happen, and then he's like, "Oh crap, I need to listen to Loki."
Right,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
that was,
you know, beat by beat. You ignore the messenger, and then you are forced on the journey,
which is great story writing.
You know,
Well, maybe he doesn't. Yeah, maybe he doesn't know. I think the biggest mystery right now is if Doom is going to be in the Fantastic Four in the actual movie, like not talking like rumored post-credit scenes or anything like that. But is Victor Von Doom going to be in the Fantastic Four movie in any type of capacity, right? Mm-hmm. That's like one of the biggest mysteries right now. It's like, if he's in there, then it might not be so far-fetched for Loki to come up and say, hey, this guy Doom is, you know, doing stuff. So then kind of towards the end of the movie, if Doom makes a move, all of a sudden he's like, oh, crap, that guy was right. If Doom isn't there, he has no idea, then Doom could show up from a different universe, take a son.
Oh, sorry. Are you saying that Loki is going to pull a Doctor Strange in this is the only way that this can work?
No.
Because he can see everything, so he knows.
Yeah. I'm also wondering if there's just one Franklin.
No, you never know about that. I don't think it's I just think it's, hey, this guy is causing destruction of the multiverse. And I think his end goal is Loki. I need to get people to stop him.
But if Loki can see all, couldn't he be, before even going to the Fantastic Four, isn't there something that Loki could have done to not make him, he's an illusionist. He's got all this power.
Maybe we'll see him trying.
He's an illusionist, but that doesn't mean he can physically be there.
Sure.
He can't physically be there.
All he can do is send a projection of himself and then request other people do it. So maybe Doomsday starts with Loki going and visiting places and trying to cry for help and nobody's listening. And maybe there's somewhere like with Kang, because there does come a point where Kang says, I don't know what happens next. And maybe that is true for Loki as well. I mean, realistically, it would make sense that there does come a point where Loki's like, well, this is as far as I can see, because this is the point where I lose control, which is the exact same truth for Kang. Kang only knew up to the point where he was no longer in charge. And then he's like,
I think I needed that moment of Loki being out of options and because he can see. So why
he isn't in charge anymore?
Future. He can't see into the future is the thing. Like Kang could see into the future. Doctor Strange, he went into the future and saw all these different outcomes. Loki can't see. Loki can just see what's happening currently in the multiverse.
He's the god of time?
Not the god of time. He's the god of
stories. He's the god of stories.
He's the god of stories. Thank you. He's the god of stories.
Well, I mean, I don't know. In theory, maybe he could jump to the end of a branch.
Yeah.
And maybe he sees, and maybe what he sees is the end of every universe.
Or there comes a point, just like with Kang, where he doesn't know any further, and that probably realistically marks the part where he loses his spot on the throne, which is going
right, because the universes were supposed to be consistently being written. Right. That was the thing with Kang; he was writing it, right?
And so is Loki, theoretically, in a way. Or he's
I like
allowing
Yeah.
it to be
hear
written.
it just feels very repetitive, like we've already done this. So
Well, one of
But that
the
isn't
cool
the main point. That's just to
Right.
get to the main point.
Right. Yeah. Well, I will say this. This was one of the take this one with a grain of salt because it's a new insider talking about this. But this was something interesting I heard. Oh no. This is from Alex Perez. Yeah, so don't take this with a grain of salt. He's got a good track record. He said that the original story for Kang Dynasty was going to be that the MCU was stuck in a loop. Basically, what would happen was the multiversal war would happen. Kang, or the specific He Who Remains, would win, isolate the timeline. The events of Loki happen to where he's killed. Kang variants come once again. The multiversal war happens again. The same thing happens. He Who Remains, wins, isolates the timeline, creates the TVA, does it all again. Loki comes, Kang variants come, multiversal war, Kang wins. Same over and over and over. That's the time loop, right?
Jesus.
Right. So Kang's not there anymore. So they switched it to the loop is the Avengers causing incursion. So like Spider-Man and his shenanigans in No Way Home, Doctor Strange doing all the things that he's done, Deadpool, like they cause the incursion. So what happens is eventually the multiverse gets destroyed. Secret Wars happens, and let's say Franklin restores the multiverse. Okay, but then inevitably incursions start happening again. Secret Wars happens again. So that's supposedly going to be a pretty big point in Doomsday and Secret Wars is that time loop.
Is fixing the time loop or just seeing the time loop for what it is?
Well, fixing it, I think, is the biggest thing.
Mm.
Yeah, trying to get to where the multiverse never gets destroyed, and maybe that's only having one universe again. You know what I'm doing? Like, a part of me thinks that maybe they just make one universe at the end of Secret Wars, and they don't jump back into the multiverse right away. Because I know, like, I think my biggest issue is like the multiverse saga, because of everything that happened, was not utilized to its fullest potential.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I actually really want them to revisit Kang one day, you know, and I want them to revisit the multiverse saga one day, but it's going to have to be, but it's going to have to be down the line. And you know what really sucks is I don't know what people think now, but I really like Jonathan Majors. Like, yeah, he got in some trouble and did some stuff he shouldn't have done. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying I think he was perfect for Kang, and I was so excited for that. I really was. But
well,
I hope they revisit it one day. What?
I hope that they do revisit Kang, and I hope that they give him his own television series so we can see all of the different versions of Kang. I think that having just like 3-minute little stints in Loki wasn't enough. You know, I think Kang is a strong enough character where we should be able to really dive deep on a story. Like, give him like a Moon Knight style of show, and I would eat that up.
I'm almost, you know what? Especially after hearing like what Bob Iger said recently. Like, Chris and I talked. I put this in the video that's about to come out when we're done with the stream.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Bob Iger was straight up like, you know, we focused too much on the shows. We're gonna do movies now. I honestly would be fine if Marvel stopped making Disney Plus shows.
Really?
Like, I don't think I would. I don't really think I'd be disappointed.
I don't
like.
disagree.
I would. You know, I like my Daredevil Born Again and stuff like that. But I don't know. If you think about the Disney Plus shows, I think they miss more than they hit. In all honesty.
Really?
They take away more than they bring. I don't disagree.
Well, maybe if we only, the thing is maybe if we only got one a year, it would be better, right?
And it was like an event instead of like a background thing.
I like that. But I personally prefer the shows a little bit more than the movies. Thunderbolts not included, because I loved Thunderbolts, and I'm so sorry that didn't do well in the box office. I loved Thunderbolts, but I liked it because it brought more emotional background and more story to characters that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten. And that's what I like about these shows. I don't like certain shows that may or may not be coming out shortly because they rush through everything and kind of it's all put together haphazardly. But when you take the time, like Daredevil, like Moon Knight, to let these characters breathe and understand them and how they can fit into the MCU as a whole, I think that's better. It's just these shows
but they're not
jamming so many characters together in the series, you know.
But they're not doing that moving forward. They've already confirmed when they make Disney Plus shows in the future, they're going to be about non-main characters that aren't really going to be woven into the overall story of the MCU as much. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. If all the Disney Plus shows were bangers, I'd be like, yeah, give me some more Disney Plus shows, right? But I just don't think that's how it's been, and it's pretty much confirmed that the movie suffered because of that. And I prioritize movies over Disney Plus shows, so we'll see. The guy Mark, thanks for the super chat. Multiverse story won't be great until we get a Downey, Jackman, Maguire scene. I mean, you just have to imagine that has to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right? You know, kind of like the OGs, like the starters. You know, Jackman with the X-Men. Toby with Spider-Man and Iron Man with the MCU. I mean, you just have to imagine.
I would love that.
Yeah. But to end the stream is by saying one thing that we have consistently heard is that it all does lead to the TVA and Loki.
I like that it leads to Loki. I hope that it leads to Loki. I think that is a perfect, for lack of a better word, tie-in to everything. I think that having Loki.
Well, before you let me actually add a little bit more before you say that, so you can add more as you talk. One of the things that we've heard is actually that Doom, as he realizes everything about the multiverse. So like let's take it back to Time Runs Out before Secret Wars, where Doom and Molecule Man realize that the multiverse is gonna go boom. He tries to save it. I think it's something similar where Doom realizes the multiverse is being destroyed, but it was Kang's fault because he isolated the sacred timeline and kept all these other universes away, which Doom isn't in because we know Doom's not in the 616. So he has kind of this vendetta against what Kang did and the TVA. So yeah, so it's like that's why he wants to get to the TVA. And then I think he realizes that, you know, Kang's gone, it's Loki now.
So he takes all the ire that he had for Kang and puts it onto Loki?
Well, the TVA, and Loki's essentially in charge of the TVA. Well, and Loki essentially has taken the spot of Kang.
Interesting. I like that.
Who would be a good actor for Molecule Man? I've said this, and I stand by it so hard. Robert Pattinson would be the perfect Molecule Man. He would be the perfect Molecule Man.
I thought
absolutely
didn't he say that he didn't want to do? Oh, but I guess he's Batman right now. I was like, he doesn't really do Superman, but he's I don't know if he can. Can they cross over like that?
Yeah,
being such a big figure in one and then also in this one.
I mean, they can. Whether the studio would want it or not is a different thing. I mean, yeah, we had Henry Cavill as the Cavalrine. Granted, it was 10-second cameo, but you know they totally can.
You gotta throw some fan service in there eventually.
I'm a fan. Service me.
I'm a fan.
Yeah, but all right, guys. Well, that was a great live stream today. Thanks for everybody for being here.
Boom.
I super appreciate it all. We're gonna try to get more interactive. I think we're gonna maybe set up a point system for things. Yeah, I have to figure out how to do that. And we're gonna do some
segments on the stream.
Segments. Yeah, that's what I think we're really gonna try to do. Some segments. So we're gonna brainstorm and we'll probably
get some ideas.
do some posts asking y'all what you'd like to have a more interactive show.
Hey,
we try to be interactive, but we also try to, talk about the topics at hand. So
a lot of passion.
So thanks everybody for being here. Yeah, a lot of passion. Definitely a lot of passion. So all right, next Thursday.
And we'll have seen
Eastern time.
6 o'clock Eastern time.
What?
Ironheart's going to be out by then, right?
Well, the first 3 episodes will be out. We'll have a lot to say. I've already seen the entirety of it, so
I'll
hold it. I'll hold it in for.
We'll just let Jasmine talk about it for 5 minutes and then
move on.
Yeah.
We'll get the culture out, and then we can.
We'll all be quiet for 5 minutes. Jasmine can say whatever she wants, and then we'll just move to the next topic.
Of how it works, but I've seen the first 3. I'm gonna tomorrow finish the last 4 or the last 3, and then we can side chat outside of the.
ASF.
Cool.
Awesome. I love this.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next Thursday. Thanks for being here. Peace.
Bye.